Good day, students. I am Master the Genius, and today I want us to run through government. Yes, government. And I want us to run through pillars of democracy. Now, before we go into pillars of democracy, what is democracy? What is democracy? I know the definition that comes to your mind is democracy as defined by Abraham Lincoln. Democracy is government by the people, of the people, and for the people. So, but in a general term, democracy, or in a summarized or concise way, democracy is a system of government where people rules, either directly or indirectly. I come again, in a concise way and manner. Democracy is a system of government where people rules either directly or indirectly. In fact, the word democracy itself originated from two Greek words. What are those two Greek words? We have demos, then we have kratos. Two Greek words. So these are two Greek words where the word democracy was coined out from. And demos means people, while kratos could mean rule, power. You can also say reign, etc. So if we put this together, what you are going to have is people rules, or people in power, or people reigns. That is where we get the word democracy from. All right. Just like I said in the definition, I said democracy is a system of government where people rules or reign either indirectly or directly. And that points us to types of democracy. So we have two types of democracy. Two types of democracy. Number one is direct. Number one is direct or classical democracy. Number one is direct or classical democracy. So this kind of democracy, the people directly take part in decision and policy making. The people are directly involved in decision making. So where democracy originated from the ancient Greece. This was the type of democracy that was practiced when democracy was initially, introduced into politics. Now, the second type of democracy is what we call indirect. Please note, indirect or modern or representative democracy. Representative democracy. So you have to note indirect or modern or representative democracy. So this is a type of democracy where the people occasionally or periodically comes together to elect someone that will make policy and decision on their behalf. That is why it is called indirect. So the people are still in power. The people still rule nonetheless. However, the people rule through a representative. All right? So these are the two types of democracy. Now, let us go into the pillars of democracy. So, what do I mean by pillars of democracy? It means that what are the things that must be in place if democracy will thrive? So, if democracy will ever be a successful, system of government, if democracy will ever be a very successful adventure in any country, then these things must be in place. These things must be in place. Now note, before we go into it, we have numerous pillars that uphold democracy. We have numerous things that must be in place for democracy to thrive and be successful in any nation or state. However, there are three major ones I want to point our attention to, because every other pillars of democracy are under, we can categorize them under these three. For example, we have constitutionalism. Any country where democracy will thrive, then there must be strict adherence to the constitution. We have rule of law. We have three major principles of the rule of law. Any country where democracy will be successful, then the rule of law must be in place. We have credible elections. We have, two-party or multi-party system. We have independence of the judiciary, and so on. However, of all these pillars of democracy, there are three that stand out. And this three is what I want to run us through this day. All right. What are those three? Number one, we have independent judiciary. Independent judiciary. Independent judiciary. So, judiciary is one of the arms of government. We have the three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and the judiciary. And meanwhile, don't forget that, as it is commonly said, that court is the last hope of common man. Yes, court is the last hope of common man. And also, I mentioned the concept of rule of law the other time. Rule of law, which is also part of the pillars of democracy. But if the judiciary is not independent, if the judicial arm of government is not independent, then rule of law can never be possible, because we have three major principles of rule of law, one of which is supremacy of the law. Supremacy of the law, which means the law must be supreme. The law must be over and above everybody. We also have equality before the law, which means whether you are old, young, adult, tall, or short, in government or not in government, we are all equal before the law. The equality before the law. Then we also have respect and protection, respect for fundamental human rights. Fundamental human rights. But come to think of it, for all of these things to be possible, then the judiciary must be truly independent. What independent judiciary means is that ability of the judicial arm of government to be able to give judgments, operate without fear or favor. Without fear or favor. Because when someone is dependent, you will be operating either from fear or favor. Yes, because if the judicial arm of government is depending on maybe the executive, for example, they will want to give judgment fearing the executive, or they want to give judgment in favor of the executive arm of government. So, if the judiciary do not enjoy true independence, then all of these principles of rule of law will not be in place, and that will be bad for the democracy. That will be bad for our democracy. Because when your right is trampled upon, where do you go? You approach the court. The second major pillar of democracy is independent electoral body. Independent electoral body. Independent electoral body. Which means the commission, the agency, or the body that is in charge of conducting election must be truly independent. Don't forget that when I gave us the two types of democracy, I said the second one can also be called modern democracy, because it is very rare for you to see a nation or a state that still practices direct democracy. And so, which means that the most common democracy we have now is indirect or representative democracy. That is why it is also called modern democracy. And I divined it earlier that Indirect or representative democracy mean that people comes together occasionally or periodically to choose someone, are you getting it, or a group of people that will now make decision and policy on their behalf. So it's still the people that are still in power, because democracy is about the people being in power. It is still the people that are in power, but they are in power indirectly or through a representative or representatives. Now, for that to be possible, that means we have to have election. So people must come together periodically, to choose the person they want to be their representative. And for us to have election, we must have an agency that will conduct, supervise the election. In fact, it is the electoral body that divides the country into electoral, district or constituency. It is also the electoral body, that conducts the election, supervise the election, even announce the winner of the election, and even present certificate of return to the winners. So which means for us to have indirect democracy, then we must have election. And for us to have election, there must be an organized, so to say, body or agency that will supervise election. However, this body that will supervise and organize election must be truly independent for us to have a credible election, for us to have a free and fair election where it is the people's, man that will emerge. Because if this electoral body do not have, are not independent, that means what we are going to have is election that will be marred with rigging and malpractices. So if people's choice, don't forget, democracy is about the people. So if people's choice will emerge truly, it means that this electoral body must be truly independent. They must enjoy independence. So can you see now that it is very important for democracy to thrive and be successful in any state? It is very important that the electoral body or electoral agency enjoys independence. The third most important pillar is free press. Free press. So when I mean press, I mean mass media like television, radio station, newspaper outlets, magazine, etc. These are the platforms through which people get information. In fact, the mass media is like the bridge between the government and the people. So, how do you have access to the policy of the government? Through the mass media. How will you be able also to let government know what you feel about their policies and their governance? It is also through the mass media. So the mass media bridge the gap between the people and the government. Don't forget again that democracy is about the people. So which means there must be feedback. There must be a platform for feedback where the people have access to the policy of government, and government also have access to the opinions of individuals. There's something called public opinion. The government must be aware of what the people are saying. The same way the people also must have access to what government is doing. But in a case where this platform through which the people can reach the government, in fact, through this press or media, the people can constructively criticize government policy. Constructively, because we have two ways to criticize. It's either you criticize constructively or destructively. But it is accepted in democracy, in the democratic system, to constructively criticize government policy. But how do you want to go about that when there is no media, or in the case where the media does not even enjoy freedom? In the case where the media does not enjoy freedom, maybe all the newspaper outlets, the television station, radio station are in the pocket of the government. So if all the radio station, television station, newspaper outlets are in the pocket of the government, it means that they can only put out information that government wants them to put out. And they can only air or put in a public domain, what they want the government, the good things that people are saying about the government. So in a case where every television station, radio station, newspaper outlet are in the pocket of the government, it will make it difficult for the government to know what exactly people are saying about about government policy. And those media also will be scared and afraid, to let government know what people are saying. The only thing they will want government to know about what people are saying is, you can just say people are singing their praises. You understand? So do you see now that if any country will be truly democratic, then there must be freedom of the press. The press, which means the mass media, must enjoy freedom. So let us go through those 3 pillars again. Democracy to thrive. For democracy to stand strong in any nation, these 3 must be in place. The judiciary must be independent. The electoral body also must be independent. And the press must enjoy freedom. Thank you.